So we all know that Sweet Home is widely regarded as dat boy, quite literally serving as the blueprint for Resident Evil, and by extension through RE's sequels has given birth to my baby boy Steve Burnside, the rootinest, tootinest, shootinest twink this side of Rockfort Island. Resident Evil is easily one of my favorite franchises, so you could imagine how grateful I am for Sweet Home's existence. Even without the legacy, the game holds up surprisingly well for being old as dirt. It has a lot of forward-thinking ideas. I don't want to say it's ahead of its time because I think that phrase is corny, but you get what I mean. But I'm not here to ramble on about a game I'm sure you already know all about. I wanted to focus on Sweet Home's lesser-known spiritual successor, an adult horror RPG by the name of Abaddon, Princess of the Decay. This one is not for the kiddies. Professor Yamanobe, along with two of his students, Kaneda and Shima, take a trip out to the middle of nowhere to explore a derelict mansion owned by a friend. A friend who claims it is indeed very haunted and that no one should probably be poking around in there. They also mention that there are plenty of valuable things tucked away within its spooky walls, so here we are. We will definitely not regret coming here. After walking around and reading exposition, you actually get to start doing things like that one Resident Evil dining hall statue push puzzle thing, or saving your assistants from the deadly creatures that roam these halls. Shima's a fucking doof. The gang stumbles upon a secret basement with a totally not creepy circle of some kind. I don't know. I'm not well versed in the occult. But you better believe that some spooky shit is about to go down. With Scaredy Cat Shima starting to act very different, floors ceasing to exist, seemingly endless underground passages building up to a chilling end, fitting of all the terror casted upon our protagonist thus far. Someone ends up dead. Luckily, the game doesn't end after 30 minutes and we are generously given more characters to try to keep alive. You play as Homura, who happens to be the professor's son. He was called shortly after Yamanobe's arrival because he forgot the keys to unlock the east and west wing of the mansion. So here he is with his friends in tow, Mia, Yachika, and Kippe. And while trying to get in contact with the professor, two more of his students, Seijiro and Rikana, who are running a little late, arrive at the mansion. A few minutes later, they find the fucking Necronomicon, and a ghost decides to make the mansion inescapable while splitting up the group in the process. For shits and giggles, I assume. Now Homura and two party members of your choice must find the professor and his lackeys and get out of here. All while avoiding death by tentacle monster, naked lady, flying knives, zombies, and a possessed doll. Fun times. Abaddon, Princess of the Decay mostly plays exactly like Sweet Home, and kind of looks like it too. You take control of small groups of 2 or 3 people, each with their own little doodads that do various things. A hairpin to pick locks, first aid kit to play doctor with, a backpack for carrying things that no one else wants to hold on to, etc, etc. Most character exclusive items do have an alternative counterpart that you can find throughout the game, so even though you don't have Rikana in your party who has a dictionary for translating all the foreign language you come across, you can still find pages throughout the mansion that'll allow you to do the same thing. Or you can use matches instead of Seijiro's lighter to light up dark areas. As you can tell, the special items aren't so special compared to what you already have available, except for Kippe's backpack, which takes so much backtracking out of the game. Characters only have 3 item slots. At the very least, one of those are taken up by a weapon. In some cases, 2 are used if you're trying to pack a punch. This leaves you with not a whole lot of space for healing items, tools, and key items. so you are always running back and forth, constantly swapping items in your inventory to inch your way through the mansion. Kippei's backpack allows him to hold an extra 3 items, which I really only used for tools like the hammer, matches, rope, stuff like that, so I would have it on me whenever I needed it. So I'm spending less time going, oh, I need this item. Okay, cool. Oh, I need this item. Okay, cool. Wow, why didn't I think of bringing that item? Okay, cool. And a lot more time actually playing the game. Thankfully, unlike Sweet Home, this game is post-Resident Evil and opted for an item box. So you don't have to run around the mansion trying to figure out where the hell did you put that one item you thought was useless. You can just skip to the nearest save room and pick it up there. That's cool. We love a game with quality of life changes. But you can tell how similar these two games play. They're practically identical. I mean, Abaddon doesn't have those pre-Shenmue QuickTime events, but I think it's better off without them. You guide these unfortunate souls through the decaying manor, slowly opening up new paths and rooms by solving puzzles and using items you find lying around the place. All sorts of gross nasties on the prowl. Looking forward to munch. Not on your lunch, but on you. There's no doubt that this game is based off of it, and also heavily inspired by Resident Evil as well. But on top of everything borrowed, there are also new systems and slight changes to old ones that kind of update the whole Sweet Home experience to something that would be acceptable in its release year of 2014, making the game easier on my Zoomer brain than Sweet Home ever was. Namely, the inclusion of a life system, which I will admit takes out a lot of the stress associated with random encounters. I mean, you can still get your ass handed to you, but at least you don't have to be like, aw shit. Well, RIP Kippei. They kinda just faint until the battle is over like Pokemon, and then they're ready to go with one less heart. And to make it not seem like the characters are like cats with multiple lives, instead of hit points, every character has a fear gauge that tracks how scared they are. Through encounters with enemy types they are afraid of, the battles themselves, and little spooky traps waiting for you in the mansion, their fear levels gradually increase until they faint. You can find stale cookies and expired juice to lower this, but just like the much appreciated healing tonics in Sweet Home, these snackies are very limited, so in most cases it's probably best to avoid many of the encounters, especially the ones your party is afraid of. For if you don't, your party members can very well become hopeless and then soon after die a horrible death. And it'll be all your fault. Asshole. There's also an affection system that provides all sorts of benefits and bonuses for being a good friend who doesn't let their homies get so scared they die. Giving food to your buddies, spending time with them in save rooms, friendly banter, stuff like that raises affection points with a particular side character and strengthens your relationship with them. In battle, party members who have a good relationship will occasionally do a wombo combo, dealing big numbers. And outside of battles, high affection levels can lead to special events occurring. Romantic relationships can even form, and this aspect is kind of the game's main focus. Sure, the story is interesting and the RPG gameplay is solid. There are even a few alternate endings that provide a little more replay value as well, but the real meat and potatoes, especially after that initial playthrough, are the many events you can trigger and relationships you can build in the game. Not just between the main protagonist and the 5 side characters, but also between the side characters themselves. Take matters into your own hands and craft your OTP. No more long nights writing your own fanfiction where your favorite characters get together. Make this shit a reality. The combinations of party composition and affection levels are way more than I could ever hope for. And chances are, with so many, you'll probably be done with the game long before you get a chance to discover all the little events and storylines that could be triggered. Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm probably making it sound like a bigger deal than it actually is. There's nothing super deep in these interactions, and all the characters pretty much fall under your standard anime archetypes. And a lot of the storylines I speak of are clearly just setups for the big sex, which is like, okay. Surprisingly, you can even romance the dudes and the ladies with each other. Abaddon says gay rights. So long as we have an option to hide all the gay shit, am I right? I mean, I guess I can't complain too much. There's not a ton of games with romance options for everyone. Microsoft, for the love of God, if you give me a Fable 2 remaster, I will buy an Xbox. Please, I beg of you. But the relationship stuff is cool for what it is. You know I be on my Sims shit, playing Cupid and hooking peeps up. I can dig it. Abaddon also has these cat and mouse chase sequences that I'm not a super big fan of. You'll be running away from either a giant tentacle monster or the ghost lady. When one of them appear, literally everything on the screen turns red and your field of vision is shortened, making it impossible to figure out where the hell you're going. And if you get caught, you are forced into an unwinnable battle that spikes everyone's fear gauge. You run away from the fight only to run some more. There are some hiding spots during the chases, but I never seem to get enough space between us for them to work. Eventually the chase will end if you successfully hide or put enough rooms between you and Mr. Tentacle/Ghost Lady, and it's back to your usual exploration. It really comes down to trial and error with most of them because during the chases, all of the paths are fucked. Like, a hallway you just walk through will randomly become a dead end, forcing you to turn around, run into your pursuer, building up your fear level all because you didn't know the game would screw you over like that. My first playthrough was actually cut short because I kept losing all of my hearts during the chase sequences. Like, it was a cool idea at first, but with multiple of them occurring throughout the game, it gets really old really fast. And sure, there is an item that lets you run faster and makes hiding guaranteed to work, but it takes up a whole item slot. So in most cases, it's just not worth all the backtracking you have to do to use it. The chases add some variety to the gameplay, which I appreciate, but I would totally be cool if they were toned all the way back. But other than that small complaint, Abaddon Princess of the Decay was a pleasant surprise. Going into it, I had no idea that I would like it as much as I did. It's no Resident Evil, but it's a pretty fun Sweet Home influenced game, and I think the horror in it is much more refined. The game is downright unsettling, with it constantly making you second guess yourself, such as during the Haunted Doll event where your party is trapped in a connected nightmare after touching a strange doll found in one of the rooms, not really knowing if you're awake or not until something fucky happens. The doll watching over your every move, not allowing you to feel safe for even just a moment. Though a tad long-winded, it's probably one of the more memorable events the game has to offer, which is odd considering it's completely optional. You can just as well leave the room without touching the doll, just like the well-placed note outside of the room tells you to, and nothing will happen. And I would have gotten away with it if it weren't for that meddling note. There's a bunch of cool spooky stuff, both mandatory and optional for you to check out. It's like a playground, except every piece of equipment is trying to kill you and you're trying to get with Kippe. All around, it's just a really solid experience. The story and lore is captivating, the music is present. I honestly don't know where I was going with that. I hadn't even thought about the music until I started writing that line. It's okay, I guess. I like the save room theme a little bit, but that's like an unspoken rule about survival horror games. The save theme has got to be the best song on the soundtrack. I absolutely love the monster designs. Most enemies are your basic horror monsters. Skeletons, zombies, cockroaches. I think this dude is supposed to be Leatherface with a knife for some reason. Most of it not really giving Nightmare Fuel or Masahiro Ito vibes one way or another, but the way it's all cute and pixelated really warms my little heart. And then you have this guy. Like, what am I looking at right now? I don't even feel like finishing the script anymore. Thanks, bro.